Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. The theme for this year is Living Everyday Wonder. And it's the 1st of May, so we have a new focus for this month, and it is emotions. The title of our talk today is What's on Your Spice Rack? And guys, just a little sneak preview. We've been having a discussion while we were waiting for our service to start, and Charlene gave us a teaser. I cannot wait to hear the message today. So we are so glad that you have joined us today. Please feel free to add to the chat or the comments section any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. So now we're going to officially kick off our service for today. Sit back, relax in this moment, and welcome. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
Good morning, CSL Leesburg. I'd like to invite you to sing this song with me, and if you feel inclined to share in the ASL, the American Sign Language motions. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I have got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I have got peace like a river in my soul. I have got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I have got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I have got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got joy like a fountain. I have got love like an ocean in my soul.
That was amazing. I love the different signals for the different emotions, and especially the one for soul, the way it's showing you and then your spirit going up. How about that Wakanda for love, huh? Mm-hmm. Yes. So welcome to May. It is May already, and I'm looking around and there are beautiful people on my screen. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you, Tamara, for such a wonderful opening. I am so grateful to be sitting here able to talk to you guys about the things I'm so excited about learning and discovering, and for me to be able to learn it, embody it, and then turn around and immediately tell others about it. I highly recommend that kind of learning because we are all on a journey together. And last week, I was talking to you about our 6-year-old selves. We said that at 6 years old or so, we know who we really are. We haven't begun to doubt who we are. We have this innate interest and joy about something. And we took you through a bit of a guided meditation, and we've asked ourselves, what is it that I love to do? What is it that comes natural to me? What is it that, if given my free reign, I would just do that if I wasn't worried about anything? And a lot of us were able to share after service, as we do. Part of this community is deep discussion. I love it. We all shared a lot of similar things. A lot of it was dancing. I know for me, what comes to me naturally, if I see a field of green grass, I'm doing cartwheels. Even at my big age, I do cartwheels. I'm grateful that I can still do cartwheels. And so everybody kind of got excited about the feeling that we too have access to that person within us before they were hurt or harmed, before somebody said something that was hurtful, that we still were able to grow and dream. And so today, the topic is what's on your spice rack? And I love the title because not everybody enjoys spicy foods. So they might say, well, I don't have a lot on my spice rack. In fact, I keep it very neutral because, and they'll give you reasons about some reason why they can't have food that's too flavorful. But I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm here to talk about is the spice rack is not physical, literal spice rack, although it does give me images. What I'm talking about is your emotions. And the way that, I don't know about you, but I recently got at Costco these little Lazy Susans for my spices. So you just kind of swing them around and pick which one you want. Very handy. I highly recommend that too. What if, as you're going about your day, you took a moment and asked yourself, what emotion am I feeling right now? If the spice rack is not a rack of spices, it's a spinning rack of emotional states, then if you were to sit and just get quiet for 1 or 2 minutes and ask yourself, what emotion is going through me right now? How would that help you on your spiritual journey? Well, I don't ask questions that I can't answer within this talk. So it turns out that as human beings, having as spiritual beings having a human experience, our emotions are sort of the GPS. They're the feedback system that we use to determine how we're doing. What should I pay attention to next? By paying attention to our emotions, we have insight into what's going on right now on our spiritual journey. And so, as you know, too much of anything is not a good balance to have. And we say that we want to be joyful and we want to be happy. But if we were happy all the time, then we wouldn't really be happy, because happiness sometimes needs an opposite for you to be able to embrace that you're happy. Now, I know some people say to me, gosh, Charlene, you sound like those people who say money is not going to solve your problems, so don't ask for more money. More money never solves problems. And I always come back with, yeah, you say that, but can I prove it? Give me more money and I'll prove that. So for me to say, you shouldn't, or not should, not, you would benefit from embracing every emotion and not expect to have just happiness. That's not our goal, to just have happiness. You might be thinking, well, give me a chance at it. I'll let you know if it's terrible. But as human emotional beings, we are here to experience the full spectrum and yet not get caught up in it. That is the trick. So imagine with me. Notice I did not start with a meditation. I want you to go on an imaginative journey with me. Your 6-year-old self is in a meadow of beautiful grass, cartwheel-worthy grass with some wildflowers popping up. Do you see it already in your mind's eye? You may close your eyes if you need to. And in the distance, there's a nice mountain range that's beautiful rolling hills, just peaceful. And in this meadow, you really feel at home. You feel like that hopeful 6-year-old that you are inside. That one that there's just never been any real hurt or harm, and there's not been any awareness of anything other than possibility and joy. And you're really feeling the earth between your toes, and you're really feeling the air and the wind, and you might see a few clouds go by, and you have fun trying to figure out if that one looks like a duck or a whale. You're taking in your environment. Are you there with me? You're breathing it in and out. You're really in touch with everything. And this energetic being is who we really are, but follow with me as you grow up. Grow up. Now you're an adolescent. Now those clouds that were out there and just floating by, they're coming a little closer. They're coming a little closer. And these fluffy clouds, as you become a teen and in your early 20s, and you've been told to worry and to care and to be concerned about everything. Well, now you are so enveloped in the cloud that you no longer can see the meadow. And now everything in your mind is something worrisome, because our minds tend to go toward the struggle. We feel as if we could just go and take care of that thing, then we'll be happy. And there's another thing. Is it a car? Is it a house? Is it a spouse? Is it a experience? How about a job? A certain weight? A certain Instagram profile? We start that the cloud has clouded our vision, and our minds are chasing butterflies. Chasing butterflies with one hand has a net in it, and you want those things that you want. And you're going to try to catch these butterflies with this net. And the other hand has a fly swatter, because there's stuff that you don't want. And you're going to smack it and kill it to keep it away. And just take a moment and just rise out from that. Now look at yourself from a third party point of view, externally. This looks a little crazy. There's a being, and all you can see is their feet and their 2 arms. each hand holding something separate. And they're running around aimlessly, it looks like, chasing something they can't really see, but something they seem to remember is possible, some happiness. My friends, this is us. This is us every day in our lives. If we allow our minds to wander and to criticize and to take us out of this moment, of this meadow where it's all beautiful, if we allow ourselves to seek something, hoping to get us back to the meadow, and then trying to smash things that we believe are causing us not to get to our meadow, we realize that we're already there. We're already there. We are in the midst of this amazing experience, and every emotion that we chase because we think it's good, and every emotion that we smash because we think it's bad, those too are here for us. Those are happening for us. And ideally, we could sit down and just be present in that emotion and just let it have its way. Let it have its way with us. Is it fear? We look at that, we spin that spice rack. That's what I'm feeling. Fear. And just sitting in that feeling and naming it is the first step. And not moving until we also can bring in a little other, some other spice, just a little bit of counteractive force, something that reminds us that we are loved. There is nothing to fear. We are whole, perfect, and complete. Now, I know that's hard to jump to. If you're terrified, it's hard to jump to all is perfect, all is whole, all is complete. So there are some stages you can start to be aware of, and just being aware of the next stage will help you get there. And so I've been studying power versus force, which is a way to calibrate each emotional level. And I'll show you what that looks like. But just for now, just know that whenever we are in our humanity, are going through something in our minds, are trying to reach, plan, catastrophize, or glamorize, idolize in one hand and catastrophize on the other, those are indicators that we're not being present. We are supposed to have this human experience. We're supposed to be right here in this physical body with these emotions, these physical emotions, and we are not to be controlled by them. I'll say it again. We're supposed to have these emotions, but we're not to be controlled by them. So there's an institute called the Heart Math Institute. Have you heard of it? Heart Math. So what, in a nutshell, they talk about is that our center of power, our real center, is not our brain, it's our heart. And that the heart is not the physical heart, it's the one in the center of our being that's around the middle of our bodies, but it doesn't live in the organ called the heart. That there is something inside each and every one of us at the center of our being that is connected like an umbilical cord that has never been cut to the divine. We have immediate access to it, and it's always right there. So the Heart Math Institute talks about connecting to that heart in between, in the midst of where we are, and then breathing through that heart and connecting not only to our higher good, our higher all-knowing beingness that always knows the right way, it also connects to the hearts of others. It's how we deal with those doggone others, because they too are not just their brain and their struggles and their defense mechanisms and their who knows what kind of baked in racism, because we live and move and have our beingness and a lot of it in this society. It gets rid of all of that and connects to the one, the divine in that other person. And we can start seeing that person as who they really are. And when our heart connects with their heart, and all the hearts are connected together, the whole thing, kumbaya, drums, you get it. But it's a real thing, and I'm not just making this up. So I get my information from folks who are way smarter than me, and I will be giving you some references soon, and you can follow with me along. But if this month we're talking about emotions, then what does Ernest Holmes, who founded Science of Mind, who it's one of the many new thought, ancient wisdom teachings on the planet. Ernest says, in a well-balanced person, emotion is controlled by the intellect. But in many people, there is conflict between emotion and intellect. Emotion, uncontrolled, produces chaos. All right, Gary Zukov, who wrote The Seed of the Soul, says, emotions reflect intentions. Emotions reflect intentions. Therefore, awareness of your emotions leads to an awareness of intention. Now, you would think that those two quotes conflict with each other, or maybe you don't. Maybe you already see how they're reciprocal. When I have a thought, my thoughts can lead to an emotion, and that emotion will reinforce that thought. Have you ever been there with me? Let's take it from a very simple, does this dress make me look fat? Let's start there. But you could go anywhere with it, but this is my example. You put on some dress, it's feeling, or guys, a belt or something, you're feeling a little tight, and then you go, I'm feeling fat. Now, fat's not a feeling, but we think it is. But it's disappointment based on some idea of who we really want to be. And it's a self-shame of not enoughness. So there we are with the cloud around us, and we've got a net in one hand. We're trying to catch good self-esteem, high self-esteem. And the other one is shame, and we're trying to smash that. So you look in the mirror and you're feeling, okay, all right. Now, in that moment, we can switch, we can catch it, and we can do some spiritual work. But let's say we don't. Then our thinking caused our emotion, which causes another action. So then I might say, screw it. I mean, I'm on a diet, how to gain 2 pounds on a dang diet. Well, screw it. I'm just going to eat this cake. So the cake is eaten, and then after the cake is eaten, do I get more shame or less shame? I get more. And so the thought then, triggered by the shame, takes me down a spiral. And you've seen it, we've all seen it before. And you could take this anywhere that you're triggered, from not being good enough in a way of social acceptance, not being good enough in terms of love, not being good enough in any way. There is a spiral that causes the intellect or the mind to take you down a road you don't want to be down. And then the emotion says, let's stay here and make it worse. And so what I'm suggesting to you is that if we have spiritual tools, Ernest Holmes is talking about, that the intellect can guide the emotions, then what we do is we have to feed a new thought into our intellect so that our energy and our creative force is now creating for our good instead of creating more and more of the things we don't want. That means not feeding the fear. I know it's hard. When we start to worry, we start Googling things that we're worried about. We start watching YouTube on the things that we're worried about. We don't want it, so we better learn a lot more about it. And so we get really good at identifying that thing we don't want, to the point where the universe is like, wow, Shar is really interested in gaining a lot of weight, so let's give it to her. Like, if that's what's happening, my interest causes all of the movement to come forth. My interest is my thinking, it's my awareness, it's my intention, and that causes the snowball effect. But if that's true, then I can be the one who chooses differently. I choose another thought, and that new thought begins to germinate just the way that the other thought was. The principle is the same. It works for good, and it doesn't even understand good. The principle itself says yes. The law says yes. And whatever you put into it will germinate. It's like the soil with a seed. What if the soil was judgmental? Nah, you don't want rose bushes. I'm just not going to create those rose bushes. What? What? The soil wants, no, it's just soil. It's going to give whatever I put forth into it. So where we do have power is that initial thought, that thing. What is good? What do we call God and the universe, which is a source for good and a force for good? It is that initial thought, that initial intention, that initial connection that we can have with the divine, that then we feed that and we seed that, and then we watch it grow. But don't just take it from me. Let's look at what David Hawkins says. David R. Hawkins, who wrote Power versus Force. You guys, I brought this up. I have brought this up in previous talks years and years ago. David R. Hawkins, rather. He is a scientist who knew that there are energies, emotional energies, the consciousness of the human has different stages, and he went about calibrating them. He used muscle testing and other calibration testing to determine what's the lowest energy emotion that you can have on a scale all the way up to what's the highest energy, what's the highest energy that you can have. So I have a slide, but the thing is, it's going to be super tiny to read. Let me see. Let me see if I can make it so you can see it. All right. I don't know if you can see this. I'll read some of it to you. On the lowest portion of this stack, if you can read it, despising, the God view is despising. You think about, I have a despising God. Your life view is you're miserable. What level is it? It's shame. That's the emotion. And it comes in at about a 20 in terms of vibrational impact. Now the maximum is 700. Look at way up at the top. The God view is the self. When we get fully enlightened, we are one with the overall self. And the life view is the beingness, the isness. The level you're on emotionally, well, you're enlightened. And the log is from 700 to 1,000. And ineffable is your emotion. Like you can't even say. When you ask yogis, very enlightened ones, you ask Jesus and the Buddha themselves, what does it feel like? There's like, I wish I could tell you. And really the process is pure consciousness. Now, from humiliation all the way up to the ineffable, there are levels of growth. And so if you are looking, I'm going to pick something in the middle here. I'm going to put my face here too so you can see me. All right, so listen, right in the middle, right around there, you've got neutrality. It comes in about 250 on the range. And trust. Trust is its basic emotion, and it has a lot of releasing going on. You're doing a lot of releasing. But let's say that you have some pride. Now, in the book, Power versus Force, I guess I'll link to that in the chat. Power versus Force says, even though you can come in right around the middle, like look how courage is right around the middle. And it right before courage, still a little bit negative, is pride. Pride becomes courage. Courage becomes neutrality, then willingness, then acceptance. I'm climbing up, then reason, then love, then joy, then peace, and then enlightenment. It's interesting how he calibrated all this. Now, what he had to say about it was this. You can get a lot done even if you're a little bit in the downward energy pattern, as opposed to going upward to enlightenment. Because he says that the whole Marine Corps and a lot of military establishments move off of pride, and you can get a lot done if you can make people proud. Isn't that interesting? That's right before the neutral and then into the upward spirals. So I love that. And there's a whole teaching around power versus force. The whole idea is we use our power to be effective in this life, our power instead of trying to force it. We use our power, and that is by noticing where you are emotionally and then raising your vibration. And David R. Hawkins says, even if you just read a passage that is written by a very high level being, like any of these sacred scriptures, read any enlightening book from Richard Rohr to Thich Nhat Hanh, the Bible, the Upanishads, read something that is written at a high level of consciousness, and you will shift yourself at least one level. And this is why our practice is so important. We don't just sit on Sundays and talk about this stuff. We practice it because it is what we want. We want to vibrate at higher levels. We want to have those higher experiences. We know that we're going to have pain, and there's going to be fear, and there's going to be sadness. But how long are we going to keep ourselves there? Once you realize you're in pain or fear or sadness, what do you tell yourself next? That's the key, because what you tell yourself next determines whether you're going to go in a downward spiral or whether you begin to climb up. It's all up to us. And I love that, but I'm terrified of that, right? It's up to me. Wait, what? With great power comes great responsibility, Peter Parker, right? So that's it. We know that we are at the center of this human experience for a reason. We chose it. We're here. We're on a journey. We found each other. Yay. We support each other. And yet we still do our work because it's joyful work. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And finally, in the words of Maya Angelou, you've heard of this phrase before, and I'll just repeat it. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And so let's go within and just have a prayer for peace and love and joy all on this entire planet. So I speak my word as we go within, that we are all connected, not only to one another, but to the divine. And that as we breathe in and out, we know that we are breathing into the heart of the divine, right where we are. That our higher power, our higher presence is living in and through and as us, and only the way that we can bring it forth. Each and every one of us is imbued with divine capabilities and power and talents and just a special way of seeing the world. And it's so beneficial when we show up and when we speak and when we're kind to one another and when we see the heart of each other. That is heaven on earth. And I know that it is in the midst of us right here, right now. We do not have to wait until we get to the other side to experience heaven. Heaven is at hand now. So I know that this is the truth about each and every one of us, and that wherever there's any experience of sick, the body's appearance of working through dis-ease, I speak my word that right there, right where that so-called dis-ease is the perfection of the divine. And it's making its way. It's making itself known. It is following the divine pattern of perfection that is each and every one of us. And I am talking radical perfection, where on a soul level, we are right where we need to be. We are the right size, we are the right height, we are the right weight, we are the right chromosomal combination, we are the right gender or non-binary, or we are all of that perfectly, just the way we are. We don't need to do a thing except relax and say yes to the experience we're having now. and we just accept where we are because we are in the midst of a meadow of beauty. And I just speak my word that the clouds of confusion and wanting and struggling are dissipating. And now we see where we are and we're grateful. We see who exactly we are. We just release any net of capturing things to hold things, and we release any fly swatter to get rid of things, and we just put our hands up and say, thank you, divine. I am accepting exactly where I am right now. It is perfect, and this is exactly where I need to be. There's no mistakes. We are right where we need to be. And so knowing this is the truth about each and every one of us, all I have to do is just say, thank you, life. What an amazing life this is. I release my word into the law, knowing it is already done and coming to fruition as I speak. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. All right, we have Leah. She's going to sing some more for us.
This is another gift that was brought to us by Karen Drucker. These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive. Oh, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, are you ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Oh, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? I am ready to receive. These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, are you ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace? Fruits of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? I am ready to receive.
Oh my goodness. That was so wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Charlene. And thank you, Leah, for the wonderful music. Now it is time to bless the donations that are shared with us today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donation helps our center, also our home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision of creating a world that works for everyone. Please look at our screen. There's so many ways that we offer for you to give. It's easy to find something that works just for you. But no matter how you are giving, please take that, just place it over your heart, and join me as we bless our gifts. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And now it's time for announcements. So on Tuesdays, oh my goodness, I can never make this, but boy, I had the best dream this week. If you'd like to join Charlene and friends on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m., they get together, they talk about their dreams. Guys, even when we're sleeping, the messages are coming in, and sometimes it helps to share your dreams with others and explore what they could mean. Sometimes it helps to have others interpret your dreams. We get so much insight and guidance. And then on Wednesdays, look what we have going on. There's always something different happening on Wednesdays. Midweek, we check in at 7 o'clock at night. Wednesdays in May, we will be doing some guided healing meditations and some visioning for CSL Leesburg. And from what I have here in my notes, we're looking at, yeah, there they are. They're on the screen. May 4th, we're going to have guided healing meditation, and we'll also do that on May 18th, as you can see. And then on May 11th and May 25th, we'll be working on things for our center. So please join us if you can midweek. There's always some great discussion. There's great fellowship. You really join and feel the community of spirit. And it's just so good to get that midweek check-in and get your little battery charged up to make it through the rest of the week. So join us if you can. If you have to leave us, we send you off with our love. In just a moment, we'll do our closing affirmation. But if you can stay, please join us. We do something called Pearls. We share after our service and we discuss what are those little nuggets, those gems that you got from today's message from Charlene or from the music or just anything that came to you during our service. And we bounce ideas off with each other. And it just seems like we take our message of the day and it just expands. And again, we have that fellowship and camaraderie and just the love continues to flow. If you can't, we send you off with our blessings, but just stay for one more moment while we do our closing affirmation. All right, guys, if you know me, you know I love it when you turn on your mics and join me. So here we go. The first one. Let's do that symbol that Leah taught us. I am love.
I am
I
love.
am love.
Nice. Let's do that fountain as we say, you are love.
You are love.
You are love.
Woo! And let's go back to that sign language symbol for the ocean, because it's just surrounded us like an ocean. It is all love.
It's all love.
It's all love.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the 1st of May. Like I said, we send you off with